Hello and welcome back to building a space elevator again. This time we're in episode 16. So here comes the context. Alright, so episode 16, so far so good. Everything is still seemingly doing okay in terms of the save file. It hasn't crashed. And so far we experienced 2 crashes and a lot of deaths because of, I guess, too many blocks, I think. Things start to wiggle quickly and break and everything like that. But today's main event is the return of the MultiTool. That's this ship here that I think I made during surviving Europa, when I was making a base in Europa. A whole, like, nearly a castle-like wall thing. I think it was one of my earlier time lapses. But this has been my go-to when I start building a lot of things. And it is a small grid ship, but it does have, I think, 1 large cargo container and 2 medium cargo containers right there. It has an O2H2 generator. It has hydrogen engines. It's got hydrogen tanks and a lot of hydrogen thrusters, obviously. And it has the functional piece right here. 2 welders, 2 grinders on advanced rotors. So that way, when we use our 1 and 2 in the toolbar, we can flip it over to use the grinder and then press 3 or 4 to use it that way. That's kind of what I designed here way back then. I still use it once in a while instead of making something new, because this has been my popular build, and it is in the Pandemic Playgrounds workshop as well, this one. But in a later episode, I might decide to kind of go through all the vehicles that we created in this series and upload it into the workshop as well, and link in the description. But for now, this has been linked many times, so take a look. I think this one has been damaged once or twice before. As you see, that's yellow. This is not yellow. So there's some changes. And one key thing to do, if you are not in creative mode and you are projecting it like I did, all you need to do is build this conveyor junction here. Make sure the 3 small ones are showing that way, up and down. So then you have your left and right here connect correctly for the welders and grinder. But everything else is pretty much set. All the toolbar settings are there. So it is based on 2 timers to make this rotation work correctly. So it's actually one rotating one way and the other one going the opposite way. So that way it rotates together, if that makes sense. And of course, you have your welder, grinder, you have a camera as well. So if you have panning, you can take a decent look out of it as well. If not, it's still a pretty good look right in front. And you can turn off your hydrogen engines. 7 and 8 is your gas and brakes as normal, which is basically all thrusters except for backward thrusters. And your brake is your backward thruster. So you can turn it off. So that way you can fly and just float a bit without the front thrusters or backward thrusters slowing you down in a way. And of course, 9 is your switch lock. And then toolbar 2, you have your collectors to throw out and collect all. I don't know exactly why I have that here, but it's there. And then 3 is stockpile for our tanks so we can collect all the hydrogen. And 4 is to recharge your batteries, which this thing seemingly needs a lot of right now. But yep, that is today's episode for the most part. We'll go through the rest of what we did as well, but this is my pride and joy, and I hope you guys do enjoy using this MultiTool ship as much as possible. Unfortunately, yes, it is hydrogen, so you do need to get hydrogen filled up into this thing. You can always kind of convert it and throw in some like atmospheric thrusters, ion thrusters, things like that if you need to, depending on where you are. But this was ideally and mainly for gravity planet and space, so that's why it's just hydrogen. All right, so other than that, we have a few things to cover here, and that is this whole drill system. So as you saw in the time lapse, the whole drill system, and I knew it was gonna happen. I should have listened to myself and said put 0.00001 instead of just 0.001, meaning make it a lot slower with the piston extending. because without paying too much attention to it, it broke. The drills broke off of the piston, as you may have seen, and what was left of it was just this one with the drills, although one of the drills did break as well. So we added it here, but we put this on the custom turret controller, and then that way we can control it with ease. That we can go left and right. Ooh. I think we're having some power issues. It looks like that might be the case. But yeah, we put on the custom turret controller so we can move it left and right. We should put a rotor right here so we can make it a little bit diagonal, as it looks like we need to drill down this way as well. So we will eventually do that so we can collect the rest of the iron that is left here. Not much left, to be honest, so that's a good thing. But it's also a bad thing because we're going to have to find a new iron deposit and drill a big old hole again. Alright, so other than that, we didn't do much over here in the base, although we should, meaning we should update. I don't know what's making that sound, but we should change some of these assemblers right over here to have more speed mods. As these three have speed mods on all 4 spots. This was missing the these are missing the bottom one, so it's a little lacking in that way. But one key tip I got from the comments section, of course, during production, to do repeat mode. Honestly, I never used repeat mode. I don't know why I never used repeat mode. I knew it existed, but I completely forgot about it. And that is definitely a good use in this case. So I pretty much killed 1,000 in each assembler and did a repeat section there. So then that way we have it all rolling. And we kept one as opened so that it doesn't repeat anything. I just build whatever I need to build here, while the other ones are dedicated to whatever they need to build out. So that has been working a little bit better. But as you see here, this one filled up with materials again, which is a little unknown as to why it really does that, but it clogs it up and it doesn't produce what we need to produce. But now it's producing, and now I'm hearing some knocking from the power usage. So I think we have too much vehicles draining power right this moment. Yeah, we have very little power left. We need a light system somewhere to indicate when we are low on power, instead of hearing that knocking sound. That sounds quite weird. And of course, seeing everything blinking like that. Alright, so that's all we have on this section. Let's fly on to our ice lake. Alright, so before we get to the ice lake, we did build out this somewhat of a station. Not exactly what I had in mind initially, but I just built it out of glass just to do some of a skybox view in a way. Which it looks nice in the inside because everything's clear. You can see underneath you. You can see the side. You can also sleep in a bed and have a nice view. Kind of. Not really. A little kitchen system here. All this, and also a bathroom system. Very, very pointless. But the main reason I have this here is this, the medical room. So that way, if I do find a way to kill myself over here, I can respawn in this medical room, in this skybox, and continue on instead of flying from here all the way to 7.5 kilometers away. So makes life a little bit easier. And of course, there's a cargo container here as well, so we can gather materials, although we could gather materials right from the connector too. So the ice lake, once again, everything's connected. Probably should put a medical room over there too. Would make sense to put medical rooms in multiple bases in a way. But here is where we projected and built out our MultiTool. So we did have to fly from here all the way back to base eventually. But we built it from here, and we extended our O2H2 system so that we can generate the ice a lot quicker to hydrogen. I think this has helped out a lot because it got rid of a lot of the ice, which is actually non-existing. So that's not good. So what we were planning to do is update the drill to get a little bit more ice, but we didn't do that in this episode. We will take care of that next episode. And of course, one of the main reasons why we finally built the multi-tool is because we are collecting hydrogen. So then we can fill up that ship so we can fly it. And yes, again, we continue to have power issues, so we probably should run that hydrogen engine. I should have turned it on before I left. But these tanks are slowly filling up, which isn't too bad. Although I would hope they fill up a lot faster. So mostly at close to 50%. That's not too bad. 50%, well, 45% still 1 bar. Okay, so I guess it needs to be at 50% to hit those next bars. But yeah, once again, all we did here was just add in a whole bunch of O2H2 systems right back here. And we welded up mainly with our impractical welder right over there. That's the ugliest ship I've designed so far, I think. But that's it for the ice lake for now. We do need to update the drill and get more ice. Now let's jump into our welding rig. Alright, so we made it to our welding rig. One big update is adding more welders in the front section of the rig, so it could weld up everything and not miss anything as soon as possible. If it does miss anything, these 3 will take care of it as well, but mainly want to get the front ones to work as soon as possible instead of waiting for the back ones. And there's a reason for that. And of course, we added turbines just to get a little bit more power as well, although they don't really run optimal in any way, to be honest. But if we have the landing gears locked, they will turn on. So when it's doing the inchworm technique, it will spin a little bit. It's more for visual purposes more than practicality. And of course, I put more colored solar panels over here, and that way it can soak up a little more sun for power. Although this thing is on here, it's helping provide power, we are still lacking a lot of power. So we probably need to put a little bit more turbines, a little more solar panels and things like that. Or actually, you know what? I'm collecting so much hydrogen, I might just do a whole hydrogen engine system, really. But we've made progress here. So we're about 10 kilometers away. Only about 2 kilometers or 2.5 kilometers since. And it seems like it is using a lot of iron here. A lot of steel plates. This thing had a good number of steel plates. And it's all no more. So we have about 40k of each material here. Except for the computer. Computer, we left about 5,000-6,000. And motors too. Motors, does this thing use a lot of motors, or did I just grab a whole bunch out? It doesn't use that much motors. I think I filled up 40k worth of motor. No, I don't think it was 40k motors. It was probably a little less than that. But we try to fill up 40k worth of everything, including steel plates. Or steel plates, we just gotta throw in a whole bunch regardless. It makes no difference in terms of like how much we have, because we just eventually just run out really quickly when it comes to that. So it doesn't really look like we have much steel plates still. So we definitely need more assemblers, more iron, things like that to get things moving, it looks like. Yeah, it definitely looks like that. Because 18k will go away really quickly. So that's the unfortunate piece of building a space elevator's rail system. Because it's going to take a lot of steel plates. And if I remember correctly, our build limit is coming to a close soon. I think we got about 14 kilometers away. About 4 more kilometers and it ends up stopping. Of course, there's a way to resolve that. And what we're going to do is put a rotor to connect it from the piping system. So advanced rotor. And then build out a new kind of pillar from there. So it shouldn't be a problem in terms of extending it a little bit further. How much is that going to lag up the joint? Not sure. We will find out. I hope we could make it close to the moon as much as possible until the game decides to stop working. We still have a lot to do because we still need to, build the elevator itself or the monorail. So that's something to look forward to as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this time lapse, this context. And if you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.